This is AJ's Journey, Part 10. What is AJ's Journey? For those of you that might just be watching this for the first time, my series of videos. AJ's Journey is to be helpful, meant to be helpful. From SL to real life to SL, some people say, well, SL is SL, real life is real life. I see them as affecting each other and blending with each other. There is no clear, defined thing between your real life and your SL and vice versa. Your SL is going to affect your real life is going to affect your SL. So I advise exercise caution with what you pretend in Second Life and what you do in Second Life. The same with real life. It's going to affect your SL. You're not going to come into SL as a very, very uptight, moral sort of person and have it not affect your real life and vice versa, as one example. Today I'm going to be talking about finances. It's Christmas time and you're going to see people roaming back and forth behind me probably. I do these in various locations. I just pop into a different location and do the video. In any case, I advocate getting your finances in order and keeping them in order. Second Life's going to affect those. Yeah, they are. Some people come into SL and they just simply do hunts and games and earn Linden within the game itself. That's going to be very difficult. I mean, you can do it. However, if you're going to come into SL and think you're going to make big bucks or big Linden, really not going to happen. I advocate that if you plan on being in Second Life on a regular basis and logging in and making it truly an integral part of your life, you're going to have to at least put some real money, meaning you're going to have to buy some Linden with some real money, with in-world. New people, I tell them, plan to spend at least $10 a month buying Linden so that you can actually do something and dress yourself, besides just using absolute freebies everywhere. This is the minimum as I see it. Now, you can buy land, rent property, whatever, become a premium member, and there's benefits to doing that. A brand new person, if you want to try premium member, that's a good way to get started. You get a Linden home, a few little perks along the way. You can buy on the mainland if you want a little house or a place of your own to mess around with. I'm a sim sort of person, so fairly early on I got a sim. Now, if you buy direct from Linden Labs, a sim, that's the cheapest way to go if you're thinking about a region that's standalone within Second Life Grid. There are real estate places that you can get like a quarter of a sim, half of a sim, a homestead, that sort of thing. Some are more economical than others. One thing to be aware of if you're going with a real estate agent, so to speak, within SL, they can resell the place out from underneath you because they have region rights. And if you've still got a credit with them, they're under no obligation to reimburse you for that. Just a little tip. Now, finances. Okay. Have your real life finances in order. How do you do that? The nasty word budget comes to mind. Yes. If you've never prepared one, you need to. Figure out your finances. One step in doing that, let's see if I can find it. Here's one way of doing that. Excuse me, I'm still getting over the flu. 50-30-20 rule. In other words, 50% are your essentials, like housing, utilities, groceries, transportation, whether it be your car payments, your gas, or public transportation, insurance, and debt payments. 30% would be your wants, which is for your lifestyle and fun, such things as dining out, entertainment, hobbies, shopping for non-essentials, vacations, leisure activities, subscriptions such as Netflix, Spotify, gym membership. 20% that's left, savings and debt repayment. This gives you future security, things such as emergency fund, contributions, retirement accounts like 401k or an IRA, investments, extra debt payments beyond the minimum would come out of this 20%. In other words, your budget is going to take into account that whatever your weekly salary is, translate that to monthly, and then figure out your monthly. What are your needs, your wants, your savings and debt? I go about mine a little bit differently because I've always figured I need to give the first 10% as a tithe. So, for example, if I'm making $2,000 a week, then my tithe would be 10% of that $2,000. Now, some say, oh, your net and your gross. I mean, your net, excuse me again, is what you take home. So, say I take home the $2,000, then 10% of that would be $200. After that 10%, I would figure, my expenses. I would start, way I would do it, I would start by figuring, hey, what are my groceries, my bills, my essentials I'm going to have day in and day out? What are they for the week if I'm getting paid by the week? Well, then I would figure, hey, what do I need to invest? Now, in the past, I figured what I need to invest is 10% towards retirement and go from there. That gives you some idea. In other words, don't be afraid of a budget. You can go online and find some good advice about how to figure your budget. And then you look at, hey, I'm overspending in this area or that area. I know probably the biggest thing with women is they think, oh, I need my nails done, my hair done, my makeup done. I need to go to the spa every now and then and all that good stuff. Well, I don't know. You have to decide what's important to you. Also, in this day and age, credit card, if you live in the USA, you're going to be looking at 20% if you don't pay off the balance. And sometimes the balance is required to be paid off in 20 days, not a monthly thing. So you have to be aware of that. I like PayPal myself because they do have an option that if you've been with them for a while, they start giving you what they call PayPal credit in the form of a PayPal credit card or PayPal credit that's not related to a credit card. And that goes up. And if you pay it off within a certain amount of time, there is no interest rate. Well, don't quote me on this, but it used to be 6 months. So, for example, I got one of my computers that way. And I figured, okay, so I got $3,000 computer. How much am I going to have to pay every month to PayPal in order to avoid that interest rate that's going to hit if I don't have it paid within 6 months. It worked out very well. But if you stub your toe and you miss a payment and you have to double up on payments, that's not a good thing. And Second Life, please keep in mind that you put that in your budget if you're going to regularly pay for premium, or you're going to regularly pay for a sim. Now, when I first got on SL and I thought about buying land, I thought, hey, you buy land, you're done. But you're not. You perpetually have to pay a monthly fee for having land. They say look at it as like a property tax or something, but however you want to look at it, just because you own a place, you're still going to have a fee every month on that land. So keep that in mind. As far as giving Linden to your friends or SL family, please beware of that. A lot of people, there used to be a thing in SL, people occasionally go in groups and they'd say, I can't pay my rent. Could you give me $2,000, Linden? And they'd beg, essentially. I'd have some guys that were friends would say, oh, I gave that person that money that asked me because it's not a big thing to me. And I think, you know what? They're going to hit you up again. And then they'd act surprised. They hit them up again and they never get paid back. So it's just easier to say no from the get-go, if you got my drift. Because some people do that and they figure, if I hit up enough people, eventually somebody's going to give me some Linden. They're kind of right. But, I would say forget that. If they're going into other people's groups to beg, essentially, that's not a good thing either. I mean, you got to ask, what kind of person is this? Another thing that I think is a scam, maybe it's legit, is occasionally I get somebody out of the blue that will IM me, and they'll say, excuse me, I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, but if I'm bothering you, let me know. You don't have to reply or whatever, but I take pictures and I need to pay my rent. I take professional profile pictures for 3,000 Linden. Can I take your picture? And I just don't reply to those. To me, it's another form of trying to get money out of you for nothing, because a little practice, you can take your own profile picture and take a perfectly good one that looks great. Or you can have a friend do it, I don't know, for 200 or 300 Linden. Or you, for the most part. Or even for free. Some people will do it if they're your friend, if you feel you're unable to do it. So there you go. Be wise about how you spend your money in Second Life, and don't get in over your head because you get in the world and you think, oh, I want that specific body and I want that specific head. Because, for instance, bodies and heads and things like that, you could start spending thousands of Linden very, very quickly. So I would urge you, yes, if you don't have a real life budget, get one and put your Second Life into that budget, and don't go beyond your means. All right, that's my AJ's Journey Chat, and I hope it helps you out and gets you thinking about spending, how you spend your money, and if you're just going to live on freebies. But if you're in SL all the time, I would advocate that you budget in an amount of money. Stick with it. You may need to reevaluate it every 6 months or a year, but don't get it in over your head. Have a good one, everyone, and take care.